Previously on the Real Estate Podcast.
For one to be considered as an investor, they look at it to have multiple portfolios or diverse portfolios of probably investments that you're actually managing. But investments is starting at where you are at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so one can start at any stage and they actually build their portfolio based on what they can start on.
You said somebody can actually begin to invest in this diversity of portfolios and all. But now, in my understanding, I know I'm not an investment expert, but in my understanding, the unit trust, you'd find that maybe the interest that actually you gain is minimal. So you may need possibly a longer period and all. So this brings me to a question. Which one is better? For somebody to buy a plot and hold, or invest in a business, as it were now we have chilimbas. Invest in a chilimba where you are now having those interests. Then from there, that's when you are buying.
So in my response to that, I would simply say it depends. And why I say it depends is that some people have the right business acumen.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I talk about business acumen, in the sense that they are able to do business and thrive.
Sure.
But it's not everyone who's blessed with that skill to be able to do business and thrive. Yes, we say people can grow into it, but others actually fail.
Yeah, true.
Others will actually invest all their money in that
Yeah.
and actually still fail. And sometimes other people, you find that maybe they are actually constrained with the work that they're actually doing, or they do not have much time to be able to dedicate themselves to that business. So you find that the business might not take them anywhere. So that's why we have other options, like how can you passively invest? And passive investment looks at you putting your money somewhere where it can give you a good return. And good return, it will not be as high as what you will get from a business that you'll be running around every day. And one of the things that we should be mindful of is that that's passive income. You're doing nothing. You've just put it there aside and it's actually gaining you something. So I would say it depends in terms of your strengths. You have to know yourself. You have to know what works for you. But also most importantly, you have to assess to say, if I start this business, is it a viable business? You have to ensure that you do that analysis, because sometimes we rush people into entrepreneurship, but they don't have that skill, probably that's the only money that they have. Yes. So in building that, why not start slowly? If you feel you are called for business, I believe business to start slowly. Most of the people advocate actually to say, do not put probably 100% everything. Start slowly, see how you can build probably that business, and then you can thrive. But if you feel probably you're in employment and you're comfortable in employment, and probably business is not for you, I would actually recommend for you to go for these investment portfolios like the unit trust, the bonds, because ultimately you're working, but you're also passively gaining something. Because how much interest you'll be gaining when invested in bonds or these unit trusts is much more than it sitting on a savings account. So you realize to say you're better off putting it somewhere where you can gain something than the money just sitting in your savings account, because you actually be tempted. Yeah, there's also an issue of temptation. There are needs that actually arise in families, whether it's at home, and you'd want to use part of that money. But if it's locked somewhere, you know that money is not yours, or you don't have any access to it. Yeah. So I think I would say it depends on the kind of person that you are.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll go on a short break, and then we come back and actually delve into the meat of the matter. Welcome back. Today we are chatting with Madam Gladys Daka. Please, Madam Daka, we were discussing on how somebody can actually begin and use possibly their salary, like you did, to actually build their investment portfolio. Which one is better, to build or to buy? So which one is better? You buying or building a house to live in, or you buying rental apartments so that others can rent, then there's that income? Because I believe everything has got its own pros and cons.
Okay.
Your advice.
All right. Thanks very much. So before I actually take that question, I just wanted to make a statement to say, I think one of the things that we fail in is the game of comparisons.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that's a thief of all joy, because ultimately, if you're going to compare to say, because Mr. Nkando Kingdom Real Estate has so much of a portfolio of investment in terms of real estate, and therefore I should also do that, then I'll never do anything. Because I'll always be short-lived by the fact that he started a long time and he's built a brand, and there's a lot that he's done to actually reach that level of investment that he's actually done. And probably your pocket and my pocket are different. Yes, so I think one of the things that I would want to advise is never compare. It could be in any sector of life, whether it's probably family, whether it's just even jobs or careers. I think let's not compare. So I think just because another person is doing well doesn't mean that you also you can always be motivated or inspired by the works that are being done by Kingdom Real Estate, but I should not be in competition. Yeah, I think I shouldn't be in competition. I should only get inspiration from it. Yeah. Then in terms of the question, I'm thinking this is a personal question, my personal preference.
That's your personal, yeah.
Okay,
please,
preference. Buy or rent, buy or build. I'll go for build. Why build is because I would probably choose a location that I would want to get.
Awesome.
I'd also choose the design that I want.
Location and design.
Yeah, in case probably there are certain specific things that I would want. I would actually ensure that those designs are actually embedded in the structures that I'm actually building. And also, from what I've seen, it tends to be cheaper if you have all the time at your disposal. Because remember that the people that are actually selling are selling at a margin.
Yes.
So definitely if probably you don't have much time, or you are probably looking at something that is a quick fix, you can go for the buy option. But I would rather go for the build, in the sense that I'll make a saving, but also I'll choose the location as well as the design that I want. Yeah.
So, but if you are building for investment purposes, in that it's a rental property, do you bring in your own design, or you look at what is needed on the market?
Wow. So the first thing I'll do is look at the design that I want, and definitely I look at the client demand. I'll give an example of a project that we were doing, and probably we worked together on that project where we're assessing to say what's on demand, and we're looking at whether it's 2-bedroom apartments or whether it's 3-bedroom apartments, and we realized to say, in terms of demand, this is the kind of population that we're targeting, and this is the people that we're targeting, and this is the area that we're actually looking at, and based on that analysis that we did, we're able to come up with something to say based on the demand that's there from our clients, and based on the location that we're actually picking, this would be the right fit for us. So we do actually consider both. So I can have a design, but definitely the input in terms of what's on the market, especially for projects that I'm doing around investments, or which I call business, not really, because sometimes you really need to detach yourself from the business needs. Because sometimes we tend to mix the two to say, this is what I want, but is that what the market is actually looking for? So that's when we bring in different people, different advisors, whether it's architects, as well as real estate managers, who come to advise to say, okay, currently this is what's on demand, and this is what we're doing.
Next time on the Real Estate Podcast.
Yeah, I'll make sure to say it's actually very, very important that you bring all stakeholders on board, because first the design, the architectural design is very important to say this is what you want to do, or this is what you're actually planning.